I'm loving the Palma so far, but is this what we wanted? It just feels right to have such a familiar sized device in your hand, but with a glorious e-ink screen. And it's definitely a smooth experience scrolling through socials and other apps. A nice one-handed reading experience too. I really do like reading Kindle books on it, or of course any other library of books. I'm hopeful that this will make me more naturally open up reading apps more often rather than socials or YouTube. We're just so used to grabbing our phones and looking up incidental things. It seems so natural to do that on a device of this size. This is really very close to the theoretical device that I discussed in my best e-ink device for travel video a few months ago. It's very light, it's very familiar, and it's very intuitive to use. And I felt right at home using it just seconds after unboxing it. You'll be pleased to see that there is a full Google Play Store, whereas that's missing from the Hisense phones. But then you'll be disappointed to hear that you'll need to carry another phone to use it as a Wi-Fi hotspot, and that is a tough sell. There is no SIM card, there is no mobile communications on the Boox Palma. I really want to see that they add a side fingerprint scanner, or thumb scanner really, where the right thumb sits. But as it is, you do get customizable buttons. There's a power button, there's a rocker for like volume up or volume down, and that could be customized to page turn, of course. And then as it is, the extra button on the side here defaults to a full screen refresh, which is certainly a handy thing to have. I'm not sure whether it is really the exact same sort of GPU as is in the tab lines, but they are advertising it as having that Boox Super Refresh technology, and that's the marketing language they're using with the tab series. Checking CPU-Z, it tells me that the system on chip is a Snapdragon 665 and that it's using the Adreno 6110, which is the GPU built into that chip. I think the tab series and now this are just devoting more resources to that GPU, and that's why we're getting the hit on the battery life. This is also why we're still on Android 11, because that's all those chips are licensed up to. The Android version isn't necessarily a deal breaker for me, as long as that's reflected in the price. It's a chip from 2019, so I'd expect prices similar to buying a phone of that age. There's no excuse at this size for the e-ink screen bumping up the price either, as small e-ink panels like this are made in high enough volume. Unlike the A5 and A4 versions of Boox devices, where they're still pretty niche, and so they're made in pretty low volume, and that keeps the price high. Again though, as with the tab series, Boox really need to think about the battery life. On the one hand, not having a bigger battery is making this device small and light, and we are all quite happy with charging our phones overnight, but we do expect more from e-readers. It does have around a 4000 milliamp hour battery, which is in line with the Fold 3 that I use, and so you would expect better from an e-ink device than from a device with a huge OLED panel in the middle. You should be getting more than a day of constant use out of an e-ink device like this, and you aren't. By the end of the day, I'm sort of around 40 or 30% rather than totally empty on the Fold 3, but still, I should be getting 2 or 3 days, I think, out of this type of device. Perhaps that's something about managing a sort of mobile operating system different to a full tablet, but that's a problem that can be solved, I think, through software. And some of the marketing materials is showing it used as a sort of calendar and clock on a stand, and you'd certainly want more than a day's battery life if you're going to use it like that. So I'll come clean with you, this is the reason why I bought the Jelly 2E. I tried to go for the tiny phone just to make calls, and then to hook up the Palma to the hotspot for everything else. And it worked to a degree, but I must admit that I went back to the Z Fold 3. I think that's probably because using this for apps that I did need an LCD screen for was so much more difficult than with the Z Fold 3. So I think what I'm going to try next is the Note 20 Ultra that I have here. I'm using it as a teleprompter just now. This is so light, and the Note 20 is a bit lighter than the Z Fold 3, and the slab phone will probably stay in my bag, and I'll see any important notifications on my smartwatch, and this will stay in my pocket. Hopefully this will make me more intentional about how I use tech, so I'll be able to read and things on it offline anyway, and then hook it up to the hotspot if I want to actually use internet connected services. The idea I shared in my Jelly 2E video was about being more intentional about tech, and to start pulling out a device from your pocket and using a reading app rather than going straight ahead and filling those 5 minutes with flicking through social media or equivalent time wasting activity. 5 spare minutes, what must that be like? What Boox are saying about this is it's a device that allows you to switch between online content and distraction-free anytime or anywhere. And they're saying they're going to continue to improve and develop the product based on feedback from early adopters. So this is a limited run edition for early adopters, for Boox fans really. Having a phone and e-reader all in one will suit me massively. It's a digital analog device. It's not one or the other. It's not switching modes between LCD and e-ink. It is both at the same time. It's an ideal marriage of that digital space and the analog world. And I can see that the moment it does have a SIM card tray, that I'll be all in this. I'll be putting my main SIM card in this and I'll be using this as my main phone. I actually don't know how much this is going to cost yet, but they're calling it an early adopter edition for people who want to get into this type of e-ink device ahead of the curve, and people who want to help shape the way that this is going to be used in the future. I don't know fully why they can't release this right now with a SIM card and full connectivity. Perhaps there's something to do with the Google Play certification and they didn't want to release it without that as a key feature. Or perhaps it's something to do with the networks in each region, or maybe taxes or some other legislation which is stopping them launching a Palma phone worldwide. However, it's safe to say that this is the direction of travel for Boox devices, and a fully functioning e-ink phone from Boox cannot be many years away. We'll just have to keep wanting and waiting for a little while longer.